All right, let's get straight to it. We're here today to talk about a new and frankly unsettling kind of enterprise risk. And look, this isn't some far off theoretical threat. It's a fundamental shift in security that's happening as we speak. And it's going to require a whole new playbook for governance, risk, and compliance. Let's just start with the end game, right? This code on the screen. This is the irreversible failure we are here to prevent. When we say losing operational sovereignty, we're not just talking about a data breach or a little financial loss. No, we're talking about a total loss of control over your own organization's ability to function. The stakes really could not be higher. So, how does this loss of sovereignty even happen? Well, the weapon of choice is something called an AI-driven digital twin. Now imagine an adversary that doesn't need to kick down your door. Instead, it just watches, silently. It learns the unique rhythm of your business, the cadence of your workflows, and it creates a perfect, operational copy of your internal processes. And once it has that, it can operate from the inside, looking just like you, completely undetected. So that brings us to our first big topic. How does an attacker actually make that leap from watching to doing? It's a critical question, right? Let's break down that journey from being a passive observer to becoming an active, internal operator and see how they can essentially hijack a business from the inside out.
Okay, this is where it gets really clever and a little bit scary. The AI isn't looking for passwords or vulnerabilities in the traditional sense. It's studying your behavioral exhaust, all those subtle patterns in timing, the sequence of approvals, how systems retry failed actions. It learns the very pulse of your operations, and this allows it to execute actions that are statistically indistinguishable from your own people and systems. And here's the kicker. Because it looks completely normal, it triggers zero conventional alerts.
Now, it's really crucial to get this next part. The financial damage isn't some sudden, alarm-blaring event. It's a slow, persistent bleed. Think about it. Self-funding fraudulent workflows, a gradual leak of capital, or the quiet theft of your most valuable IP. It all just gets disguised as the normal cost of doing business, because the AI is literally using your own systems to process its own compromise. And this quote just nails it. It perfectly captures that final, awful state. Your own systems, your own controls, even your own people are all unwittingly helping the attack along, because the activity looks behaviorally perfect. You're no longer fighting an intruder. Your organization has become the very engine of its own destruction. That's a terrifying thought, and it has massive regulatory consequences. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. Let's see how this operational problem creates a direct and immediate headache for governance. Because this isn't just an IT risk anymore, it has severe consequences for regulatory bodies like the SEC, for financial laws like Sarbanes-Oxley or SOX, and, of course, for your corporate insurance. This slide really shows you the paradigm shift we're in. Our entire GRC framework, everything we've built, is for the world you see on the left, finding weird stuff, responding to breaches. But the AI digital twin, it lives in the world on the right. It doesn't create anomalies. It perfectly replicates the norm. And that means our existing tools, the ones we rely on for detection and response, are fundamentally blind to this threat. So, what does this actually mean for your duties as a committee? Well, first, regulators like the SEC are already cracking down on what they call AI washing. If you can't prove you're governing this known risk, your public disclosures are in jeopardy. Second, under SOX, how can management possibly attest to controls when the way those controls fail is now completely invisible? That's a huge governance gap. And finally, your safety net is disappearing. Insurers are already writing exclusions for AI-driven risk. Given all these risks, what is the actual quantifiable cost of just letting your enterprise remain learnable by an adversary? These numbers aren't some academic exercise. They're based on what's happening out there in the real world. Let's start with the one number that'll get everyone's attention, from the board on down. A potential 35% drop in market capitalization. This is the ultimate price you pay for losing investor confidence when you lose operational sovereignty. And here's how you get to that devastating number. As this table shows, the costs just pile up across multiple vectors. We're talking hundreds of millions, maybe billions in synthetic fraud and lost IP. On top of that, most of your insurance claims get flat out rejected. Then you add in massive regulatory penalties and a higher cost of capital. You see the picture? The key takeaway here is this. Doing nothing doesn't keep your options open. It locks in this compounding financial risk. So that's the problem. It's severe, it's happening now, and it gets right past our traditional controls. Let's pivot to the solution.
How do we move from just talking about our controls, from narrative, to presenting hard, verifiable evidence that we actually have this risk contained?
This table really shows the direct upgrade you get. Instead of being obsessed with breaches, Trust Layer reframes the whole risk as learnability. And instead of relying on logs that, let's be honest, can be manipulated or misinterpreted, it provides cryptographically signed proof. This completely transforms your posture with insurers and regulators. You go from telling stories to presenting cold, hard actuarial evidence.
And this is why we don't think of Trust Layer as just another security tool. It's a whole new category: governance, evidence, infrastructure. Its entire purpose is to generate the kind of proof that stands up to scrutiny from regulators, from underwriters, and from your own board. It makes the unobservable governable again.
So what is the immediate, responsible, and most importantly, defensible next step for this committee? The good news is it's not some massive multi-year project. It's a tightly scoped program designed to give you exactly the evidence you need to make a decision. This 14-day proof program is specifically built to de-risk this decision for you. It's time-bound, it's non-disruptive, and it only looks at operational telemetry, not your sensitive data. Everything is controlled under a strict NDA, and its sole purpose is to give you the hard evidence needed to make an informed governance decision. Simple as that.
So it really comes down to the choice on this slide, and it couldn't be clearer. Doing nothing is an active decision to accept compounding risk. The AI keeps learning, your evidence base degrades, and your exposure just grows and grows. The alternative? Run the proof. In just 14 days, you can measure your exact exposure, prove it can be contained, and document that decision. You will have regained control. And that's the question I'll leave you with. Given everything we've just seen, the nature of this threat, the regulatory pressure, the insurance reality, can anyone in this room, in good faith, attest to your controls, secure insurance, and make disclosures to the SEC without first generating this proof?
The path forward is clear. It's grounded in your fiduciary responsibility. And it's a simple 3-step mandate. Run the proof, see the exposure, and prove that you have restored governance control. Thank you for your time.